stage in this liberal masquerade. Cabinet ministers close behind while the master spins his lies. Welcome to the Canadian circus.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Canadian circus. In today's video, we're going to be looking at the border, how Canada is not ready for what's coming. I mean, you got Mark Holman, the new appointee from Trump, that's set to deport probably 1 million or more people a year. He's going to be aggressive. He's going to be getting rid of these people that are in their country at an alarming rate. And we got Freeland, we got Joly, and we got Marc Miller, all people who are absolutely incompetent. So without further ado, let's get into this video. Man, does she ever look like a fish out of water? Just watch her in her body language and just watch as she answers.
On the border, we're hearing concerns from the incoming U.S. border czar in terms of him describing it as an extreme national security vulnerability. What's your government's plan to respond to those concerns, and do they involve more law enforcement at the border?
We take the border very, very seriously, and that's why the border was the first issue that we discussed at this meeting of the Canada-U.S. Cabinet Committee. Minister LeBlanc spoke at length. Minister Miller spoke at length. The head of the RCMP was present as well and talked about actions he is taking, as was the head of the CBSA. So we take the border very, very seriously. It is important, first and foremost, for the security of Canada and Canadians, for our border to be secure, to be controlled. And I think it's absolutely legitimate for our American neighbors to want to work collaboratively and effectively with us, and to want to know that we take border security seriously.
Wow, that's pretty funny. I mean, I guess communications 101, repeat the same words over and over and over again when you got nothing to say. I mean, clearly this woman doesn't have a whole lot to say, and she just completely just repeats. It's almost like Kamala Harris word salad. She just repeats security over and over again, and yeah, and just safety and security. She just repeats it over and over and over again.
We do.
Are there plans to staff up law enforcement as a result?
We absolutely are working very, very hard to ensure our border is secure. It's an issue, first of all, for Canadians, and we think that today we really need to be sure that Canadians have confidence, that Canadians control our own border. Of course, it means we need to have the appropriate resources to do that, and we will.
Yeah, Canadians do not have confidence in you at all. I mean, with the way you talk, you completely say over and over again, you have a plan, you have a plan, you have a plan. Or you talk about security, you talk about safety. I mean, we have no confidence that you're going to get this job done.
The union representing the CBSA says they're up to 3,000 officers short to patrol the border properly at this time, should there be this influx of migrants that Donald Trump has essentially promised at this point. So does that mean you're going to meet their asks when you say you're going to increase resources?
Okay, there were very many hypotheticals embedded in that question. So let me simply say, we take border security absolutely seriously. It is, first of all, a priority for Canadians, and it is an absolutely legitimate priority for Canadians. And we will ensure that Canada's borders are secure and that we have the necessary resources to ensure that they're secure.
Wow. That sounds exactly like Kamala Harris. Did she take speaking lessons from Kamala Harris? That's insane. Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to jump into the next one now. All right, here we are with the buffoon, Melanie Joly, and the buffoonery with this woman. Oh man, every time she's got that cheap, cheesy smile, that $3 smile, and she's just so vacuous in her responses. It's just another Kamala Harris word salad. So let's get into this one.
That yes, indeed, President-elect Trump has said that migration was a key priority for him, and so therefore we are ready.
But how are you ready, though? If, for example, all the Haitians who are still there in temporary protected status and during Trump 1 presidency, just the talk of it had people fleeing for the Canadian border. Now he's talking about mass deportations, potentially millions of people. That's going to be an added incentive for people to flee for safety, and they're unlikely to head towards Mexico. I mean, how do you deal with this potential movement of desperate humans if this comes to pass?
So, David, of course, I won't give you the entire plan right now as you're asking me.
It's because you don't have a plan. That's why. You have no plan. That's why. I'm not going to give you the plan. I'm sick and tired of hearing that. It's because you don't have one.
The question, because I think we need to have the first conversations with the Trump administration. We need to understand their concerns. We need to understand their plan, of course, and we will work through the CBSA, which is in charge of our border protection. We'll make sure that indeed this northern border, which has been extremely effective and extremely well guarded because it's the longest and safest border in the world, stays the same. And so we have that in common with the Americans, that we believe that border protection is important. And so therefore, we'll have these conversations. They may be tough conversations, but I'm never shy of having tough conversations. And I think that Americans expect us to have tough conversations with them too.
Wow, just look at the look on her face. She looks like she's stressed out. She's worried. I mean, so she just said basically they're not going to change anything. They say everything's working fine and the border's working fine. It's safest border in the area. So it's like, well, we're not going to change anything. We're just we're not going to prepare for the influx. It's working fine right now, so we'll just leave it the way it is. Good luck.
That's diplomacy, and that's why diplomacy was actually invented, David.
All right, here we got Minister Marc Miller talking about the immigration.
Canadians want a managed, controlled flow of migration, and it's important that that we do that. We've seen things change as quickly as over the last year, and it's important for us to listen to Canadians. And this plan that I gave this year was one that was fundamentally a listening exercise to Canadians.
Is this change an admission by the federal government that what's been going on over the past few years hasn't worked? That we've been oversubscribed essentially?
Well, I think it is worth examining what has worked and what hasn't worked. We do have our share of responsibility federally. Immigration is a shared jurisdiction.
What? Immigration is a shared responsibility. No, no, it's basically federal. I mean, like, let's see what he means.
And we own a lot of the increase that I think was important to prevent the economy from going into the recession, and the growth that we've had, which is almost entirely been due to immigration. That's come with what the Bank of Canada has said is a conundrum, what economists have said is a conundrum on services, on the ability of provinces to adapt. And so it is a collective effort by the federal government, by provinces, in this case BC, and by municipalities to adapt to larger numbers. And so that listening exercise.
But the federal government sets the immigration targets. I mean, that doesn't really have anything to do with the individual provinces. I mean, what you're saying, they have a responsibility to absorb these things. Well, there's only a certain amount of people that each province and each community can absorb. If you bring in way too many with your immigration targets, and they can't absorb more than they're able to absorb. Like, and that's on you guys. That's all on you guys.
Over the last year, what has been significant, and I think it was clear to me that it was important to reduce not only temporary residents, international students, like we've been doing over the last year, but also on the permanent levels, to make them more manageable. And I think that, yes, is absolutely our responsibility as the federal government.
This has led to conservative.
See, that's weird. He said it's a shared responsibility, and now he just admitted that it's a federal responsibility. Like, what is this guy, an absolute clown? Like, he says it's Absolutely a federal responsibility. Just said that. And then he said earlier that it's a shared responsibility. No. It all lies in the federal government. They set the immigration targets. And we just know all these communities can't absorb all the people coming in. And this is going to get so much worse when U.S. starts rejecting all of their migrants and everything. They start kicking them out of the country. You know, they're going to go somewhere. They're not going to go back to Mexico. They're not going to go back to all the other places. They're going to come to where they see they can get asylum. They're going to come here to Canada, and we're going to have to absorb that. And they're saying there could be up to 1 million a year that they're kicking out of the country. So we're going to have to absorb that. That's insane. Oh, it's funny. Look at this. This is Surrey police, and look, they're obviously Indian police. Watch this. They're having a sword fight in the middle of the street. Like, what the hell is this? What country we in? Like, this is... All right, here we are with a video from TNIE News. It's an India company, news company, and here they're just showing the state of Canada right now. It's pretty dire. So let's take a look. Yeah, that's the sad state of our beautiful country now. And under Justin Trudeau's rule for the last 9 years, we've got mass immigration and mass amounts of people that just come in unchecked, and the border's just wide open. And this is what we get. I mean, get small pockets of communities like this. Mississauga's the same thing. It's like New Delhi down there. But yeah, that's it for me on this one. You like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace, y'all.
Cabinet ministers close